James Grass brings over 20 years of global hospitality experience, consulting for private clubs, restaurants, and brands through his firm, Memento, where he develops world-class guest and brand experiences. He's also the founder of Chef's Favorite, the platform behind the viral Mates on Crates series, which has produced over 200 episodes and has become a leading voice in Canada's hospitality scene. James, welcome to THINKSPACE.
Hi, Summan. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm really great. Thank you. Yeah, that was crazy to hear. 200 episodes.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, totally fun. Yeah, we're just actually filming today. We're a couple weeks off of our 2-year anniversary from releasing our first Mates on Crates.
Dude.
Right?
So tell me about your first Mates on Crates.
Hilarious.
How did the idea come together? What did it feel like doing it? And then when did you know you had fire?
Okay, so we started Chef's Favorite in 2021, but we didn't get to Mates on Crates till 2024.
Okay. And what was Chef's Favorite at the time?
So Chef's Favorite was started as a storytelling vehicle to tell the stories of the people behind hospitality. I was watching all these great restaurants and bars closing during COVID, and when I would see them closing, it would be just like 10 or 12 on a list. And I felt that was kind of a very abrupt end to somebody's dream. That, you know, they'd have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe their partner doesn't like them anymore because they work so much. They hardly know their kids, so on and so forth. There's so many things that go into hospitality that it's such a hard industry that's not, it looks glorious, but it's not. And so then to see these great people just kind of disappear. So my thought was, well, what can we do to support the industry right now? Let's find out the people behind our favorite restaurants, and maybe giving a face to the restaurant that we love gives you more impetus to go and support them. So the original concept was YouTube videos, and we filmed 8 episodes of long form, ended up being about 25 minutes. The episodes are still on YouTube, where the concept was to go meet the chef, go to their restaurant or to their house, make their favorite dish, learn about why it was their favorite dish and their culinary journey. I would help them make it. I'm not a chef. So I was kind of more the comic relief in trying to do whatever it was that they needed.
I keep them going.
Yeah. And then at the end of the episode, we would taste it. And then I would ask them about their favorite places around the city. And so the intent was that we would have the chefs shining a light on their favorites and sort of the industry referring the industry. Now, the secondary layer to it was that I wanted to use that as a promotional vehicle for my consulting business, with an eye that one day Chef's Favorite could maybe become its own self-sustaining media entity. And so that was kind of the double side of the coin, is that, you know, at the time in my hospitality consulting, it was all referral, word of mouth and experiential. So I would do a lot of events for clients, and then they would have a guest at that event and be like, hey, this is a great party. Can you do my company Christmas party or whatever it might be? And so when COVID hit, we weren't allowed to be around the humans. So we did those 8 episodes, cost a bunch of money, beautifully produced, very proud of them. And then it didn't work. Nobody watched it. It was too long. Tried to make clips that went onto Instagram, but it didn't hit.
How did that feel?
A little deflating, but I'm pretty ambitious, and I knew that there was something there.
Yeah. And I feel like you're someone who loves to create. Like, you create for the act of creation. Of course you want it to do something, but there's something about like being in the part of creation.
And I'm curious by nature. I want to hear people's story, and I love hospitality. I love the anxiety of getting a new menu together. I love the pressure of getting ready for a busy night. I love that moment when the first guests walk in and it's like, showtime, let's go. So after we had filmed the 8 episodes, we went back to Australia to visit my parents, which we do every Christmas. And my wife and I were in the pool. And my wife's a fabulous business person. She's got her own photography studio, and she's self-taught marketing and social media. And so we're in the pool, and I said, how do we get people to watch this? And she goes, it's too long. Simple. It's too long. It needs to be 2 minutes. I was like, holy shit, how do we get 25 minutes into 2 minutes? So we distilled down the best parts of the long form, and then we were kind of chatting about it, and we sort of asked, well, where do the best conversations in hospitality happen? And, you know, the easy answer is like, oh, it's at the bar, or, you know. And I was like, nah, it's out the back on the milk crates, having a cigarette or a coffee, talking to your colleague.
And how do you know that, though?
Well, I've been in the business for
Yeah.
20 years, and so I've sat on the milk crates and had the coffee and the cigarette or whatever it might be. And so, anyways, we had a laugh, and I was like, yeah, we could call it Mates on Crates. Anyways, had a good giggle at that, and then we woke up the next morning and we're like, that might actually be a pretty good name. Okay,
It's such a good name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, finished our trip in Australia, got back in March. I was like, hey, like, are we going to do this? And Kelly's like, yeah. So we went and found some milk crates and kind of wrote a loose script or a shot list and called up a couple of restaurants and said, hey, we're trying this thing. Do you want to be a part of it? And we had two restaurants say yes. I'm like, okay, great. So the day comes for the first interviews with this restaurant, and they had never been on camera before. They hadn't done a ton of marketing. Excuse me. And they canceled.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, so day one, and so I'm sitting there and I've got the cameras and the lights and my team standing there.
Yeah.
And 4 milk crates and nobody to sit on it. And so, we were like, well, let's not waste our time. We have a few hours till we actually do the next one. Let's just frame it, set it up, and start practicing.
Yeah.
So sat on the milk crate. And then I said to Kelly, I was like, we've never edited anything. Why don't I interview myself just so that we have that?
And where are you at this point? Are you at the restaurant?
No.
I was like, where's all your stuff?
We were out, we're in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
There's a beautiful mural on the side of Purebred.
Yes.
And so we were sat there. And so the first ever interview was me interviewing myself.
Okay.
But there was nobody there was just an empty milk crate.
Yeah.
So I asked the questions and then I gave the answers.
Yeah.
And so while I'm doing this, there's a guy up the street watching me talk to nobody, and he's laughing at me. And I look, and it's Gino from Taco Fino.
Oh, wow.
Who's one of the partners over there. So anyways,
auspicious.
Right? So,
yes.
So Gino's sitting there watching me across the street, and I walk over and I'm like, hey, Gino, like, we don't have anybody to interview. Would you want to do it? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I love Gino for that. Like, he can have whatever he wants in my world, because he just unprompted jumped in a crate and off we went, and we filmed for about 10 minutes and he absolutely nailed it. So that was the very first episode that we ever filmed with a real human. It was with Gino from Taco Fino. It's funny. It's fun to think back on it, because we've filmed so many now that it feels like it's been going for longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 years.
Yeah. As you've been doing this series and you've been getting to have all these beautiful conversations with all these beautiful people, and I think we were talking about this off camera, where it's just people in hospitality are so passionate in a different way. Yeah. It's just it oozes out of them. Yeah. What is something that you've learned that is unique to the people who are in hospitality in how they express themselves?
That's a good question. They're very proud of what they do. They also have a level of, I don't know if it's insecurity, but it's like a motivation to not fail, because you put yourself at the mercy of your audience every day. You're one bad review away from kind of going off the rails. You're one bad service away from people saying, I'm never going there again. And so there's a lot of pressure in that industry. And so I think that the people that go into it that are really, really good, really are high performance individuals that really think it through, that really care about the experience that they're putting out. And they know that, a great service doesn't mean you're going to be rich. One great service begets the next. And if you start having, the speed wobbles, it can go sideways very quickly in hospitality. I always kind of make a joke that there's kind of 3 kinds of people in hospitality. There's the people that are born with it, that are really good at it, that can't help themselves, that are just sort of made for hospitality. Then you've got the next tier, which is probably the most important. I call them like the travelers, and they're the people that are in the industry on their way somewhere else. They're at university and they're studying to become a doctor or a nurse or whatever it might be, and they work in hospitality to help pay the bills during that time. And then there's people that stumble into hospitality because they're fucking awful at everything else, and at the end of the day, they can wash a dish or they can clear glassware. And they start there. And so you've got this funny mishmash of personalities and skill sets that comes together to create these amazing dining experiences.
I'm like, that is so true.
Right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny. And my favorite is when the person that is down on their luck, that's struggling, that stumbles into hospitality, finds themselves there and they find a path. Those are the people that I really adore, is that, you know, this is your chance. There's a chance in hospitality, and because there's always a need for people in hospitality, there's always a second chance. There's always a way to climb back if you want it bad enough.
But why do you think, because hospitality does really shape people, right? It really, I remember I was actually, during COVID, I started at Cactus Club because I was very early in my entrepreneur journey, but I was so lonely and I was like, oh, I just want to be around people. This is like 2 months before COVID, so I did not know what was about to happen. But it was so nurturing for me, and it was one of those things where I don't think I realized, had never worked really in hospitality before, and I was like, I don't think I realized how hard people work.
Long hours.
Yeah.
Long hours, you're on your feet, and, you know, people always joke about like your social battery. If you're on the front of house, you're on. And you got... your social battery has to go. You have to be ready to go. And, you know, the kitchen side of things, there's a different kind of social battery, because you're going into service together as a brigade, as a unit. Everybody is successful based on everybody else doing their job. And so there's a lot of pressure and that social side of it that comes with it. So that's a huge part of team building and I think culture that you can take away from the industry when people do leave it, is that you're better people person. I think that you're better under pressure because of it. It's almost like, I can't remember who was talking about it, but they were saying like there should be a requirement that at some point between 18 and 23 that you have to work in hospitality for a year as like a draft. And you go out, you do it for a year and then you go on to whatever else. And the world would just be better for it, because you have an appreciation for people at a different level.
Yeah. Because you are then in service to them. Bingo. And when you're in service to people, you become different, or you become more sharp when people are in service to you.
Big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I go to restaurants all the time, dinners, events, and you know, I can tell what's going on as soon as I walk in, obviously because I've been around it for so long. But I also afford a lot of grace, because people have a bad day. Sometimes you're off the mark, and you don't need me shitting on you. Like, there's enough people for that. So I always approach it very graciously, because it is hard.
So when did you move to Canada?
Yeah. So origin story, 2007.
Okay.
Graduated from university.
Yeah.
My mum's Canadian.
Okay.
So I've got the dual citizenship.
Yeah.
But I've been coming to Canada since I was 3 months old and visiting my family. I have more family in Canada than I do in Australia. And so I was.
And is it local in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
My mum grew up in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And then the extension of the family is in Newfoundland and the Maritimes.
Yeah.
And then they all moved out here when my mum was, I don't know, 14 or 15. And so she grew up in Vancouver from that age. So there's lots and lots of family out here, cousins, nephews, and all sorts of stuff.
So what do you like about Vancouver? So I'll tell you why I'm asking you this question. I recently had Daniela on the podcast as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys you're two individuals who are out there, you're in the world, and you're meeting a lot of Vancouverites, right? And there's so many perceptions of Vancouverites. What is Vancouver? What makes Vancouver cool? And something she said that I really loved, she was like, a lot of immigrants are actually making Vancouver really cool. A lot of immigrants are actually making are more outgoing. And I thought about it from her lens, right? Because she's not Canadian either. And I'm like, this is, you know, when you kind of think about the person who's like, all right, let's go and like do something with this place. Maybe there's an element of needing to be a little bit outside to be able to see it. I don't know. But like, what is your perception of Vancouver, Vancouverites, just meeting so many different people? And we could be honest here.
Yeah. Okay. So Vancouverites are friendly.
Yeah.
But it's hard to make friends with Vancouverites, is what I've observed. I think that people that have grown up here have grown up in a little slice of paradise. Like Vancouver is genuinely one of the most incredible cities in the world. And I think that, you know, if you grow up in Vancouver, you know, I'm not to say that they take it for granted, but there's a comfort level with the space, because it is so freaking magical, that I think that Vancouverites have a tendency to be a bit guarded, like this is ours. I know when I moved here, my first, big group of friends, there were none are from Vancouver.
And how did you meet your group of friends?
Through hospitality. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. I don't know how I would have made friends. I probably would have, picked up playing rugby or soccer or something and made friends that way. But it was all, like my best friend's a Kiwi. My other good mates are South African. My brother-in-law's British, but my wife is from Vancouver. So I've kind of been able to sort of see all the different elements of it. But I think that Vancouver is a magical city, and that people that come to Vancouver see it and say, how can I contribute to it? How can I push this forward? How can I make it better? How can I make my impact? Because, again, it's a special place to live.
And when you think of how can I make it better, and from your unique lens, how do you want to make it better?
Well, I mean, from the hospitality standpoint, I think we have everything here at our fingertips to be a truly world-class food city. And whilst the game has gone a long way in the last 5-10 years, there's still so much more. Like, we have barely scratched the surface. So for me, how do I want to make an impact? By making the city's economic and governmental structures more hospitality friendly. The city of Vancouver and the province has invested a lot of money into having things like Michelin come to town. We've got the 50 best bar awards coming back here in April. So there's clearly an investment on the marketing side to say, hey, we've got this great food culture.
How does something like that happen? Like, how you're saying, like, getting Michelin in town, getting the 50 best awards, just because I know it from a film aspect, right? But how does something like that happen to even be, are you just applying and then you see if you get qualified? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as a city, there was an application process. There is a fee that is paid to like Michelin, for example. I'm not sure how it works with 50 Best, but Michelin has to, you bid to become part of the Michelin circuit. And then if they like where you're going, then they'll come and visit and start investing in it. And so the city has invested a lot of money in that. But it's like they want the food tourism and the prestige of it, but the way that the city is run and the province is run is diabolical for hospitality.
Tell me more.
It is, like, people always say to me, like, are you going to open a restaurant chain? Like, fuck no.
Why?
Are you nuts?
Yeah, I want to know why.
So there's so many restrictions around it that unless you're prepared to live and breathe your restaurant day in and day out, it's almost impossible to make it. And the best of the best that are in the city, that's what they do. If we can find ways for the government to actually smarten up a little bit and take into account that you've got this flashy Michelin recognition, which is very important, and it brings food tourism. It is absolutely valuable. On the other side of it, allow the hospitality industry to thrive. Take the shackles off, let them rip a little bit. Like, we've got these poor restaurants up on Main Street at Broadway and other businesses, retail as well, that are getting absolutely stomped by the developments that are going on with no support from the government other than signage saying, hey, there's still restaurants open over here.
I know.
And I was talking with the owner of Fable for a Mates on Craze just recently. And I said, what's the one thing that the government could do right now to help you? And he goes, interest-free loan to get us through the next 2 years till this thing's finished. And then a reasonable repayment period.
What a reasonable ask.
He's not asking for a handout.
No.
He's just asking
He's asking for time.
Give him time.
Yeah, you're asking for time. Give me weight. Yeah.
I think, and so let's use Fable as the example.
Yeah.
When that transit line is finished, they are going to be gangbusters. There's going to be so many people going around that area, and it is great for the city. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But and this happened on Canby too.
Yeah.
The challenge is, can you survive long enough to see the benefit of it, or do you just completely burn everything to the ground? Like, he's remortgaged his house. He's like, if this goes, and this is the worst thing, they can't tell him when it'll actually be finished.
I know.
So how do you plan?
How do you plan?
Yeah. Right? So that's just one example. But then you go off into other things. So a lot of great new restaurants that want to open have to go through the permitting process. There's no end date on a permitting process. Your permit could be 4 weeks. It could be 8, 12 months. And you cannot start the permitting process until you've taken hold of the lease. Now, unless you have a very reasonable landlord who either doesn't charge you rent or backdates your rent, you essentially sit there waiting for the permits to come in to start your construction, to start it, and you are spending money over here on rent that you can't do anything with. So if you go into a restaurant and you've got a little war chest of $70,000, but you're paying $7,000 a month in rent, let's say, if your permit takes 10 months, your war chest is gone. So by the time you actually open the restaurant, one false move, one oven goes down, your business is fucked, right? So that is something that is huge. The liquor laws.
I was just thinking that.
At the provincial level is insane. And again, it's like we're using 100-plus-year-old legislation to do something in 2026. What are we doing here? So anyways, there's a litany of things that I think are fixable. There are organizations like the BCRFA that are doing things about it. They have a lot of great membership from larger corporations, the White Spots, Cactuses of the world. And they actively support for them as well. But I think that the independent restaurant scene of Vancouver and greater BC is kind of a little bit of an afterthought. And they're the reason that people are coming to town for Michelin.
They're the soul.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, I'm just thinking about everything that you said. That's tough, right? In the even, I'm just thinking, I live close to central downtown, and there was this restaurant on Alberni years before it opened. It had hoarding on it for so long, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And it obviously wasn't a turnkey operation. But I do feel for people because they get stuck in these situations, and then it's like, okay, it's that sunken cost fallacy as well, because it's like, I've put so much time and energy in this. I want to see it through. It is a dream, but holy shit, like, is this dream testing me?
Yeah. And do you walk? And at what point do you walk away from it?
Yeah.
At what point do you say, like, this isn't worth it anymore, and you just take your lumps with how many thousands of dollars worth of losses, or do you stick it out and then hope that you can rebound? So, when I think about, I do want to have a restaurant one day. Whether it's in Vancouver, I don't know, but it's almost one of those things where I wouldn't open a restaurant in Vancouver unless it could just break even, and that I had another business that was so successful that could just be more of a marketing feature as opposed to a revenue generating entity, which is a crazy thing to say. That's a fucking crazy thing to say. So yeah, I love the hospitality business, and I respect anybody that's got the cojones to do it at any level, frankly.
What are some of the lessons that the hospitality industry or just being in this space has taught you?
Empathy, patience, for sure. I'm a pretty relaxed guy, but I can run hot when hospitality gets going, and if it's my event or my dining room, and knowing that if I'm not smiling and happy, it really shows on my face. So pulling that back. I think that knowing your numbers is something that my mentor Philip has always broken my balls about, which is so crucial because hospitality success is based in the margins. It's so thin that if you aren't on top of every little layer, it builds up really quickly and it can get away from you. So those are kind of the big lessons. I think that for me, looking at hospitality as an educational space for people, for mentorship, like we talked about earlier, I think that it's a great way for people to learn about life and be better humans. And so, some of my favorite things is when you have a young person come into hospitality that is green but eager, and helping guide that journey and facilitating opportunity for them and seeing where they can take it. Because, somebody that you meet as a one-off as a 20-year-old can be a top-tier restaurateur by the time they're 30, if they make the right choices and they're around the right people. So, I think that's one of the most valuable parts of hospitality is the mentorship.
What's a mentorship experience you had that was like a pivotal moment?
Well, so my boss at the Vancouver club, Philip, is my mentor. I've been lucky. I've had 2-3 really great mentors over my life. One in Canberra, Gus Armstrong. He took me out of the bar and said, "You've got way too much personality to be in the bar, and you're really bad at making drinks. So let me teach you how to do the front of
Let me
house."
just keep it 100 with you.
Oh yeah, he's as brutal as they come. And actually, to be fair, both of my mentors, God love them, they're so ruthless with me.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you can take it.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm better for it. I
Yeah.
am. Sometimes you need people to be direct with you. And both of them have been very direct. My favorite expression to describe the style of mentorship that Philip had for me at the Vancouver Club was he gave me the opportunity to fail and the tools to succeed, which was a really, really great way to do things. Like there's a lot of things that I did in my time at the Vancouver Club that I thought were a great idea that maybe didn't hit the mark because I wasn't paying attention to my numbers, or didn't hit the mark because I was partying too much in the lead up to it and I didn't organize myself and I forgot to hire the band. Or, stuff like that really has formed me. And that mentorship really pushed me to think about the guest experience. That's probably my biggest takeaway from my time at the Vancouver Club is member experience. And that was my role when I left, was director of brand experience. So every touch point that a member would have from the time they walked through the front door to the time they left, that was part of my purview, that I would be working with the food and beverage team, the events team, the wedding team, room guests, the gym, the barbershop, you name it. What are those little touch points that we can tweak and elevate to make that guest experience that much better? And so I left the club in 2018 to become a private club consultant. And when I left, Philip said, "Took you long enough?" I was like, "What do you mean took me long enough?" He's like, "You were ready to go 5 years ago." I was like, "I don't know that I was," but the education that I got working at that time with my colleagues as well, we had a really special generation of people that came through there. We all grew up in hospitality together, and they have all gone on to do great things.
Yeah. I love the way you said that we had a special generation, because you always know when you have a really special team and when you're synced up and you're growing together. Oh my God, there's something so palatable about that moment, and it's so present that you kind of know that it will never happen again. Yeah.
I kind of had an inkling that it was pretty special at the time, and once I left and a few other people left, and we all kind of have gotten together since, and we all look back and like, wow, what a journey that was. Because we were pushing ourselves and we were learning, and that's where a lot of my relationships for Chef's Favorite started. Was that we were doing stuff at the Vancouver Club to attract the next generation of membership that were under 35. And at the time I was 25. And so I remember Philip saying, like, if you're building a campaign to engage the under 35 market, figure out where they're hanging out and see what they value. And so we would go out and we discovered that they were hanging out at, the Diamond, or they were hanging out at, the Kiefer Bar, or whatever it might be. And so we were developing our own bar program. So we sent Johnny on a stage to go and work at the Diamond. And then we created a program called the Celebrity Bartenders, where we would bring in a guest bartender from around the city into the Vancouver Club. And then at the same time, we would be inviting prospective members that were under 35 into the Vancouver Club for these events. They would see it and be like, hey, these guys are cool. Maybe I am interested in joining the club. And so I got to meet a lot of great hospitality people from these guest appearances. I met Michelle Jacob at the Vancouver Club, Rob Belcham, David Hawksworth, Pino, like legends of the business. Ned Bell worked at the Vancouver Club. My old chef, Sean Cousins, an absolute legend. The list goes on. And that's how I've managed to get to know so many people in the hospitality business in the city, was from my time at the Vancouver Club.
Yeah. One thing we talked about when you had done Mates on Crates at Dankmart was your desire for these people to have more spotlight on them, to also just get to know them more, for people to understand more of them. Like, why do you think that is important?
I think that you learn a little bit more about their food and service because of that. And I think it also affords you a little bit more of an appreciation for what they're putting together on both, whether it's a cocktail or a plate or whatever it is. I think that being around, seeing the personality gives you more context. And it also, again, kind of maybe gives you a bit more space to be patient with service or with the experience if it's not quite hitting, that you don't just jump straight onto a Google review and be like, 1 star, blah, 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 blah. That if you feel like you have a relationship with that person, you know, through Instagram or through whatever, that you might feel a little bit more comfortable engaging them via an email in a direct correspondence. Like for me, I never post anything negative about restaurants or hospitality, but if I have a negative experience, I'll talk to the person and tell it straight and say like, hey, that wasn't your best day.
Yeah.
You know, and like I would rather say that to them and them know, and they already know.
Yeah.
Most of the time they know.
Yeah.
But I would rather that I do that than jump on and be like, tear it down online. That's not my style. And that's why we called it Chef's Favorite. And we don't use the word best, right? Because the word best is subjective,
I see that.
right?
Chef's best dish versus chef's favorite dish.
Bingo. And so favorite is personal. It's subjective. It's, you might love, like if I said to you, what's your favorite burger?
Yeah.
And you said it's White Spot's burger.
Yeah.
Is it the best burger?
No.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But is it
my
your favorite? And
yeah.
why is it your favorite? Maybe it's because that's the one you had as a kid. And when you have it, it reminds you of hanging out with your family.
Yeah.
Right? So favorite has a different measurement.
Yeah.
Whereas best is like, let's debate it.
Yeah.
Why is it the best?
Yeah, it is debatable. That's so true. And favorite is just, it adds that, even what you're just saying, that idea, that element of nostalgia, that idea of memory, and just that personal relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite things in town?
I mean, how long have you got?
Okay. So for somebody, I have a lot of allergies, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I have to sometimes, I love trying new places. I'm just creative. Either I'll eat beforehand and just drink, or I'll just like figure out what I can eat on the menu. But I'm going to ask you different places. What's your favorite place to go where you can sub items and where you can be a little bit more creative with your own meal?
Typically, it is the larger chains that have more, that are better equipped for that kind of stuff. A lot of independent restaurants develop a menu to have a very structured, you know, I'm finding a lot of restaurants have smaller menus, which means that there's less ingredients in the back of house. But there's a lot of really great chefs that can think on the fly and pick it up and move it around and figure it out. So, for example, Juke Chicken.
Yeah.
Gluten-free chicken.
Yeah.
Amazing. A lot of people that can't have gluten-free chicken, so can't have fried chicken because it's not gluten-free. That's a great alternative. Someone like Bar Corso, Luke Boswell. He's great. He usually has like a gluten-free pasta available. But then you go to places like the Acorn or Folk, for example. They operate with a lot of vegan and vegetarian options and whatnot. I don't have any allergies.
I know you don't, because you everywhere.
I'm like a Labrador. So that's a hard question for me to answer because I don't have a lot of modifications that I need to make to menus. But just at an industry level, I would hedge towards those larger places. But, you know, it's one of those things where I think in your situation, like if you go to a great restaurant and you kind of aren't sure and you just kind of lean more into the cocktails and you've eaten before you go, it's always worth having a conversation with the GM and just saying like, hey, what's the deal with this? What's the deal with that?
Yeah. What can you do? I was in Montreal, and I think it was at this place called Romy's or something like that. And so I can't do soy, cheese, or tomatoes. And I love pasta. And so I was like, Summan, what's wrong with you? And so I had asked the bartender, I was just told her straight up. I was like, I can't, because I didn't have the opportunity to eat beforehand, whatever. And I was like, I need to eat today. And so I was like, whatever you can do. And the chef came out and he's like, well, I don't want to just give you pasta with butter. He's like, so he asked me, can I put bacon in it? Can I put greens in it? And I gave them the biggest Google review because I was like, the kindness and the care that you just even came out to think about me, because 9 out of 10 times I go to a restaurant like this, it's not that I don't have a good experience. It's just I always have like the experience
anxiety.
where I have anxiety. Yeah. Exactly. But you just took it all away.
Yeah.
And
I love that you said that, because that's the magic of hospitality, is making people feel comfortable and welcome in your space.
Yeah.
And so to kind of go back to that question, there's so many good restaurants in the city that if you let them know in advance, they'll always figure it out for you. So for example, I had a 3-month stint at Annalena, which was truly transformational for my career. And we would get it was tasting menu only.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would, say like, these are my allergies, and they would accommodate because people had booked months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would do their best to accommodate, and wouldn't mean that they were getting the exact same dishes necessarily, but with advance notice, you can do things for just about any allergy.
Yeah. I didn't know that I could do that, so I can even let them know beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right? Like if they know that somebody's coming in with dietary concerns, it's not the same world. Like the hospitality industry, once upon a time, it was like, if you were gluten-free, like, oh, you're the devil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's a real thing. If
Yeah.
you were vegan, oh no, not a vegan.
Yeah.
Now the chefs are just like, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
And
almost everybody has something now.
Of course, everybody's got something. And you know what? A lot of chefs take a bit of pride in it.
Yeah. Yes.
I got to work with Devin Latte and Lucas Johnston of Nero Tondo.
Mm-hmm.
We did a Christmas pop-up 2 years ago together. And these guys are absolute weapons in the kitchen, and they welcomed dietary challenges. Obviously with notice is better, but like they were competitive.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
You're a very ambitious person.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think you got your ambition from as a young person?
I'm an only child, so I spent a lot of my life observing and learning by watching other people's behaviors. I guess my ambition kind of starts at a place where my parents, like I grew up in a fairly middle-class Canberra household. My mum worked for the government. My dad's a plumber. And work ethic was always something that they said you can be or do whatever you want so long as you put the work in. And so from a young age, like if I wanted to do something with my friends, there was a list of chores that had to be done. Or if I wanted money for something, there was a list of chores that had to be done. And so that baseline work ethic was something that was ingrained in me. The ambitious side of it, I think, came from more curiosity of wanting to learn from the best people. And once I started learning what it was and that felt the rush, particularly in hospitality, of a busy service and constructing a service plan and having the pre-shift and then going through service and having people walk away just being like, wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much. That really like sparked me. And I was like, I want to do this forever. I guess I listened to a lot of hip hop when I was a kid and they talk about, the hustle. And,
leveling up.
And I guess I took it a little too literally.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Do you feel, because like on this podcast, we talk a lot about that switch between blind ambition and strategic ambition, right? Really knowing how to funnel your energy. Do you feel like you've gone through that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when we started Chef's Favorite, it was to promote the consulting business. And I guess everything that I've done has always been around just more so to prove to myself that I can do something. But when I left the Vancouver club to start as a private club consultant, I had jobs in that realm, but also my skill set transferred into other areas. So I was kind of picking up work and scrapping for cash in any field that would sort of make sense. Yeah. And that I could reapply the skills that I had learned into a new field. So Chef's Favorite, I knew had the potential to do something bigger. And so I guess there was a blind ambition in that. It was once Mates on Crates hit that I switched from having a blind ambition to a strategic ambition. And I know what the next 10 years looks like.
And what did that feel like?
Validating.
Yeah.
Scary. There's a sense of the unknown, but there's also that sense of knowing what's to come. Like, I have people say to me all the time, like, wow, Chef's Favorite in Vancouver, have you run out of people to interview? I'm like, fuck no, there's so many people. But then like Mates on Crates is just one element that we want to create. We just released a longer form on YouTube called Let 'Em Cook, which is a 20-minute series where we take a couple of cool chefs and we go to 3 or 4 cool restaurants and film the whole thing.
Cool.
And that's a different way of telling the story of the industry.
Yeah.
We're still finalizing and working on a long form 90-minute documentary about Michelle Jacob and his impact on hospitality in this city.
And for anyone who doesn't know, who is he?
Michel Jacob was the chef of Le Crocodile for 41 years. And that restaurant, when it opened at the time, there was not a lot of French at all in the city, not a lot of fine dining. He brought a level of hospitality that was a sort of reserved for hotels. And the amount of people that have gone through his program over the years that worked for him is this story of consistency. He would always show up. He never took more than a week off at a time. He was behind the stove every night of the week. He had his finger on the pulse. Like that guy's a machine. 41 years in hospitality business is insane. And to keep it at that level, that story of consistency. So anyways, like I said, the ambitious side of the storytelling, we want to tell those stories because I think that Vancouver's got an amazing amount of talent. We've got the best produce in the world right at our fingertips. And it's a city that should be on a pedestal as one of the best culinary cities in the world. So that structured ambition kind of kicked in probably 2 or 3 years ago, where I had a bit more of a clear vision of where it was going. I like consulting and it's what keeps the engine running. But if I can turn Chef's Favorite into its own entity and self-sustaining, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life, is be around hospitality and tell the story of it.
And being in that structured ambition and having an idea of what you want to do and what you want to create, what has that opened up for you as a person?
Yeah, it's what we've realized is there's a lot of opportunity outside of Vancouver as well. Like BC's got an amazing hospitality community. We've, with this documentary about Michel Jacob, we're making a movie. So now I'm a filmmaker. The fuck do I know about making a film? But we find people that do, and I ask them a million questions and try and learn as much as I can.
And making a film is a lot of passion as well. Yeah. There's got to be a lot of passion because it's a lot of fucking work.
It's a lot of work, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Like even just like trying to figure out like how do grants work? How do you get funding to do something like this?
It's another part of like, how you were talking about the world of opening up a restaurant, because I know a lot about this world, and it's like hoops and loops and this and that. Like even if you've had a grant from one company and then you were on broadcast, like you can't get something from another company. And even I'm like, well, then how do you grow as a filmmaker in this industry? Like it's confusing. Yeah.
It's there's no silver bullet. There's no secret. Everything has its own journey. But also, finding the right people to be around you and getting people to believe in what you're trying to create is really the biggest thing. What I've realized is that hospitality, particularly in the last couple of years with the rise of the bear and everything, hospitality is sexy. So people are trying to find ways to partner and align with it. And so bringing external entities in to support and finance restaurants is kind of one of the angles that we look at to keep pushing the business forward, that has nothing to do with the events that we do or the media that we create, but there's that alignment that a lot of brands want to have with hospitality. Yeah,
because IRL is coming back.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So one of the core values of Chef's Favorite is in-person experiences. We have to do events to stay sharp.
Yeah.
I can't very well sit here on a podcast talking about hospitality if I haven't carried a plate in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Right? Facts. Yeah.
So that's something that we're very proud of. Like we do a lot of hospitality work for private companies that nobody sees, but we have to continue to do events and programming for the public because I want people to be able to engage with these chefs in different environments, with the hospitality in different environments, create these cool, unique experiences that keeps us sharp. It keeps us humble. Yeah. Like nothing more humbling than doing the laundry at 3 a.m. to get up to go back in at 9.
Oh, I know. I can feel your integrity. And so one thing I didn't know when we were actually filming Mates on Crates with Dankmart was that was your wife. And I was like, how does it feel to work and create something with your partner?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Oh, you sounded like a little boy.
Yeah,
He's just like cool. Pumped.
Yeah, it's funny when we first got married.
Yeah,
she's very ambitious. She's a type A woman, and when we first got married, she's like, we should open a business together one day. I can't wait till we open a business. And I go, really? She's, yeah, we'd be great. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
Who'd be the boss? She goes, well, I would be. And I go, no, I would be. Of course we're never going to do that. That's crazy. And we both laughed.
Yeah.
But then during COVID, we're around each other a lot, kind of on top of each other every day. And we just talked a lot about life and business and future. And we don't have kids. We don't have plans to have kids. So everything that we want to do is business and travel and building and fun. And she said, during COVID, we were out walking one day and I kind of realized like what Chef's Favorite needs to get started, she has. She has that skill set. And God knows I don't have any money to pay anybody else.
Might as well get my wife to do it.
Right? But then also having somebody that genuinely cares for your success and how you present and how you come across, being the one that edits and builds and helps direct it all. I mean, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it's a dream.
Yeah. And I know where I'm really strong and I stay out of her way in the areas that I'm not strong. I'll have ideas, I'll share with her and vice versa. But when it comes to specific things in our niche, if it's not my bag, I don't push the envelope. I let her drive the bus.
So are you guys both the boss?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're both the boss in our respective areas.
That's right. It's pretty funny. Like, like I'm the face of the company.
Yeah.
But we have like a team of like 7 or 8 of us. But then like if you were to ask the team who they're most scared of, it's not me.
It's not you. Because you're the homie.
Right. But like I'm the one cutting the checks.
Yeah.
But like she's kind of the boss.
Yeah.
Like she's because she has very high standards.
Yeah.
And I think that it's probably good that there's like the good cop, bad cop side of things, and not that she's not mean. She's
no,
just,
dude, I get
direct.
It's like we're not together, but in our business, I am that bad cop. I'm the one who's like, all right, this is where you invoice. This is how much you invoice. This is what time you get there. Why are you late? Like I'm that person. And Kevin's like, well, I think today it should look blue. And I'm like, go fuck yourself,
Me and Kevin are
But
pretty
we
close
need
together,
both people.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's crucial that you have both sides of the coin, and I'm very lucky that she's invested in the journey as well, and she's set up her own business now that she can have more time to do the Chef's Favorite side of things. Gloss Boudoir is her photography studio. Yeah. And they do, 300-400 shoots a year.
Good for her.
Yeah, they're cranking. But she's built a team of women that are running it more or less for her. And she goes in and spends 2-3 days a week to check in and works from home and does some of the editing and oversees the business. But she's now mentored and mentored her team and structured the business that they more or less run it. Yeah. And then she will sort of guide it through the marketing and through anything that comes through.
I need to have her on here.
You do, actually.
I loved her energy. That's why I was so because I think I was just telling Kevin, I was like, oh, she's so dope. And he's like, yeah, that's his wife. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you should totally have her on.
Yeah.
She's done a couple of interviews, but she hasn't been in front of a camera in a while. You should get her in. I'll tell her when I get home.
I love that. Okay, so earlier I asked you, when did you know that when Chef Favorites caught fire? So I want to make sure that I get that answer. Yeah,
so the moment that I realized that people were actually watching it was when, it's a pretty funny story. I was at a Whitecaps game. It was about, I think we'd been live on Instagram for about 6 months at that point. And I was at a Whitecaps game and I was in the washroom and a guy like walks up next to me at the urinal and he does a double take and he goes like this, hey, you're that guy with the made some crazy. And he kind of clapped at like my area here. Yeah. And I was like, oh,
you're like, I'm a little vulnerable right now.
Hey. And then, washing my hands and he comes in for a chat. He's like, hey man, I absolutely love what you're doing. Like, I think it's so great for the industry. Like, keep it going. And I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then I went out for dinner that night and the server came over and was like, hey, I've seen your show. Yeah. I've got a photo for you. And he pulls out his phone and it's him and his buddy doing inventory count on milk crates out the back. Yeah. He's like, I was about to send this to you. And you walked into the restaurant. And I was like, fuck, okay.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So that was kind of the moment that like, okay, at least the industry gets it.
The industry, and they're feeling seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the magical part of it. It's like everybody's qualified to do mates on crates.
Yeah.
If you're in the industry, you're qualified.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of chefs that are really nervous. Oh, I don't want to be on camera. Like, you're not on camera. You're sitting on a milk crate.
Yeah. It's
Filming
because
with
they're back
iPhones.
a house and they're used to being in that space. You know, one thing I think connects people is just that idea. I love that. Like, tell me your favorite place to do this. Tell me your favorite place to do that. I think it is one of those things like, if I love this restaurant, I want to know where does this restaurant get their inspiration from? Or if they know the best sushi restaurant, let me be the judge of that. You know what I mean? And I want to know those things because then I also feel like I get to know my city better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at the Autostrada 5-year at Vancouver House a couple of nights ago, and I had a fellow stop me. And he said, you know, I've been watching pretty much since the start, and I know so much more about this city, and I have such a new appreciation for hospitality in this city. He's like, I'm not in the industry, but I watch the episodes, we take notes, and then we go to the restaurants based on that.
I literally do that too. I go to restaurants based on mates and crates.
I love that.
100%.
Well, we've got some stuff coming down the pipe that'll help you with that.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, as we're about to wrap up, if you were to give somebody on the other side of this advice on how they can just really get clear on what they're passionate about, how would you guide them?
I would ask them, what are their non-negotiables for life? So like non-negotiable being, I need to be at home for dinner every night at 7:00, or my non-negotiable is I need to go to the gym every day. Figure out what your non-negotiables are as a integrity part of your business. And then realize that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that entrepreneurship doesn't do 9 to 5. It is 24/7. And find the thing that makes you get out of bed with a smile on your face, that you want to pursue, that you want to do the hard stuff. You know, like I hate doing my accounting. I hate going through my receipts. But at the same time, I actually kind of love it because I have a pulse on what's really going on. And so I would suggest to somebody, find your niche, lean into it, wherever you think that you have the most impact or where you think you're the best in the world in this niche, and go after it and find your people that need that niche. But know that your non-negotiables may have to be negotiated. And what are you prepared to give up? Because once it hits, once the train goes, you don't get everything.
Yeah.
You don't get everything. So what is it that you want to do in your life that you love that makes negotiating the non-negotiables worth it? And if you can find that balance, good. But the most successful people in the world, they have to sacrifice something. And that can be tough.
I think it becomes work-life integration. The more that you're in entrepreneurship, and even what you're saying about the counting, you know, you said that earlier, Philip, I think, was telling you, but be close with your numbers. It's like, you also learn your growth edges, and it ends up becoming a huge opportunity for you to be like, well, why do I avoid this? Or why do I hate this? And what about this? And how can I learn more about myself? And it's like, personal development on crack.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's personal development without anyone coaching you.
Yeah, where you have to constantly show up to the plate.
Yeah. And to sort of round that out, the other piece of advice I would give them is find a mentor and be a mentor. I think that having a mentor, whether they're directly in your field or in an adjacent industry, or even just from a business perspective or life perspective, having a mentor to seek advice from that will tell you the truth unfiltered is really valuable. And know that you have a responsibility, in my opinion, that if you've been mentored, it is your responsibility to be a mentor, to find somebody that's unsure of their journey and help them to be successful. And it's very rewarding to be a mentor as much as it is to receive mentorship. Yeah.
I can see that in you. I can hear it from the way you speak, that you take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, I do. And again, it was my mentor saying to me, early days as well at the Vancouver club, where he could see that I was going to go somewhere. And then there was this other young guy that had come to the club that had this kind of magic crackle to him that was still really rough and raw. And he said, you need to make sure that he's successful. And he's still one of my best friends to this day. And that was a really impactful moment when he said that to me. And then I went on, and I probably had another 3 or 4 people that worked with me over the years that I've become a mentor to and helped guide them. And I try and encourage them to become mentors, and they have. And so I think it's sort of self-fulfilling prophecy a little bit. Like if you receive mentorship, you now owe.
Well, it's so interesting because so many of the things that you've said, it comes back to, I feel like, this very communal value. Like, let's succeed and thrive together. Let's support each other. Yeah,
big time. Like whenever we're doing something, I never really think about what the competition's doing or what somebody else is doing. At the end of the day, like, whatever they're doing is up to them. Really what's more important is what are we doing and how are we innovating? How are we pushing ourselves forward?
Yes.
And that's my approach to business, community, friendships. I actively surround myself with people that make me a better person, that make me want to be a better person, that teach me something. I love to have people that are smarter than me or more caring than me or whatever be around me so that I can learn from them and see if I can absorb some of that to give it back. Because, moving here when I did, I had my family that lived out here, but I didn't really know anybody outside of that. And so a lot of it was building relationships from scratch and community and scrapping and figuring out your path in Vancouver and how to get ahead in this community that, like I said, everybody was very friendly, but it was hard to make friends.
Yeah, I get that. Where can people find you online?
Chef's Favorite on Instagram, so chefs.favorite. We also have a sub account that we're starting to build out, the Mates on Crates account, because we have some new stuff coming down the line for Chef's Favorite. Merchandise, new show, more events, lots of stuff coming.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on ThinkSpace.
Thanks for having me. What a treat.
Of course.